Hello and welcome to another episode of Hallmark. I'm Kristen.
I'm Aya.
And today we are reviewing Yes, I Do. Which, look...
No, I don't like this movie.
And that's the end of the episode. Thanks so much for listening. No, we... This is the second movie in our little mishap of one of us watched one movie and one of us watched the other.
Yes.
And I love that I watched Yes, I Do first because I think I enjoyed it more than you enjoyed it for that reason alone.
So are we going to have very different opinions? I don't
think so because I think we don't like the same thing about the movie.
Yeah, right.
But... I just really love Marcus.
Okay. So we need. Okay.
Let's tell you what the movie's about, and then
I have things to say about Marcus. Yeah. Okay. So yes, I do. Busy chocolatier Charlotte has left mechanic James at the altar twice. Mm-hmm. I'm emphasizing that. Mm-hmm. She has walked up to the aisle and run away twice. Mm-hmm. Now she needs to prove to him that she really does want to marry him for the third time. Things are complicated when James's ex-girlfriend arrives on the scene and says she wants him back. Yeah. So basically, the opening of the movie is we see her walk up, basically run away from the wedding.
She doesn't even walk. She doesn't even.
The first one, she doesn't walk up the aisle.
Just drive off.
And then the second one, she walks up to the aisle, says "I do," pauses, not, and then runs away.
Yeah.
So then it's
she gets hives at the thought of weddings.
She thinks she's allergic. Oh my god! She actually goes to a doctor about it. You idiot. So then, like a year, each wedding happens like a year later, basically. So they're coming into their third time, and she basically has to prove. He's obviously taken her back each time, and she has to prove that she really does want to marry him.
Why wouldn't you want to?
Anyway. I know. So it's just about her planning the wedding, getting over her fear of weddings, but also running a chocolate company and trying
She's also allergic to chocolate.
Which she's also allergic to chocolate and trying to win a competition. And so James has this ex-girlfriend who's like the head of a chocolate magazine. Sure. And actually, coincidentally comes and interviews Charlotte. And when she bumps into James, she's like, oh my gosh, yeah, we used to date. Oh my gosh, I actually still like you, even though I haven't spoken to you in years or seen you in years. But, so then, and then they have the girls have a bit of a rivalry. Yeah. There's a bit of, what's it called? Interference, a bit of setup. Sabotage is the word I'm looking for. And then eventually he's like, well, no, girl, I haven't seen you in years. I don't like you. I'm going to marry the woman who's run away from me twice. Yeah. She eventually gets over her fear of marriage or weddings, and then they do end up getting married. Yeah. So that's that in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Marcus, okay. He's in a lot of Hallmark movies.
He's in a lot
This is the best one he's been in.
He's very good in this. This is a very familiar Hallmark cast. Yeah. So Jen Lilly, who plays Charlotte, was in... I'm trying to find which one we watched. Eat, Play, Love. We haven't watched it for the podcast yet. Mingle All the Way. Mm-hmm. She does... It's every second credit on here is a Hallmark credit.
She's done a lot.
She's done a lot. Jessica Lowndes, who has been in a couple of movies that we've already reviewed.
She was in Angel Falls Christmas with Chad Michael Murray.
And then we've got Marcus. Look at it. Look at his face.
Marcus was in Love on Harbour Island.
He was. He played Marcus.
But this is his best character. I was just like, oh... There was something so attractive about him in this, right? Yeah. Even though he's an idiot for taking this woman back twice.
I think it's because he quite possibly is the perfect man in this. And that is because he is kind, he works hard, he communicates everything he's feeling. When he's frustrated, he says to her when she leaves him for the second... Oh, no, she says, I don't know if I can do this at the third time, before they've even got to their third wedding. He's like, you know what? No. Yeah. I love you and I want to be with you, but I cannot keep doing this. And if you can't commit to me, then we got to move on. And I'm like, what? Communication.
But then he plays like this like weird like sexy hard to get kind of thing. I'm like, oof, I'm totally like sure.
I mean,
but
I can see why she wants to marry him.
Yeah. But then he also says, I can't say no to her. I'm like, oh, that's a bit of a letdown.
It's because she's the love of his life.
I know.
And he knows that. He just needs her to know that.
Yeah, but he's great in this.
He's great.
I was like,
just for him. I feel
100%.
like
that's probably, I'm not, wow, okay. I'm not spoiling like my rating, but I'm being generous because it's mostly because of him.
Look, I will give it that. I will accept that. I think I gave it a higher rating based on Marcus Rosner than it
I
deserves.
didn't. I think so. Okay. A bit of background. I was just saying to Kristen before we started recording, I watched this movie with my mum. My mum loves Hallmark movies.
Yeah, she never said
She,
anything.
like, when she hears our review, she's like, oh, I thought it was lovely. And you're like, calm down.
Sweet.
Yeah. She did not like this movie, which shocked me. We'll watch it. She was like, I can't believe what is going on. She was complaining a lot. And I was actually quite shocked.
We should have recorded.
Yeah, we should have brought her on for this one. She did not like it at all, and I have to, for the first time ever, agree with her. I did not like that this woman had an allergic reaction to weddings. Literally, the day of, the moment she's about to walk down the aisle, she runs away twice. Different dresses, different venues, people fly across the country.
Yep.
And he just is such a sucker. I understand that it's love, but like...
He's a sucker.
He's a sucker because, like, if that happened to me, I'd be like, no, this is clearly not for us.
There was this weird... we'll get into it. This is my thing, is that, like, she never talks about why she doesn't want to get married. He asks her the question, and he's like, what is it? Like, why are you breaking into hives? But she doesn't know. She actually doesn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, therapy. Go to therapy.
Yeah.
It'd be great.
Yeah.
Dramatic realism in Hallmark, not a thing. Her chocolate shop is called Charlotte and the Chocolate
I hated
Factory.
that. As soon as I saw that, I was just like, no.
And my first thought was that Aya was going to hate it.
Yay. I'm so predictable.
But also the fact that she's allergic, and she hasn't always been allergic to weddings, and she hasn't always been allergic to chocolate. It's just something that has started. And I'm like...
Yeah. The chocolate...
Why?
Sure. But, like, what in the chocolate are you allergic to? Like, the cocoa?
And how do you keep making... Like, as someone who was a barista for many years that doesn't drink coffee, I can understand that you follow a recipe. But when you are literally coming up with new flavors, and that is the premise of this movie, is that she's coming up with new flavors, how do you become a chocolatier who can't eat chocolate?
And this is also the second movie in the row where we're relying on someone's smell, ability to smell things. Because she's literally a nose in this as well, as was Declan or whatever his name is in Love Blossoms. We're relying on our sense of smell to successfully make things. The perfume makes sense. This does not make sense.
Like, it's very much set up at the beginning, after we get all the runaway bride stuff, that she has a lot going for her. The chocolate shop is doing amazingly. Yeah. She's about to be featured in this magazine or potentially win this competition or whatever it is. But then in her moments of anxiety, I don't know, she does a thing that is set up at the beginning of the movie and then never used again until the end of the movie, and that is she randomly defines words.
What?
You didn't see, like, she'll be like, what did she say? She defined the word thing, adjective, blah, 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 and she rambled it. And then she doesn't do it until the end of the movie. You didn't remember?
No, I didn't. I don't remember that.
That's because it's a convention that was created, thrown away, and then brought back for its one purpose at the end
What was
the film.
What was the purpose at the end?
She defined something. I didn't even write the note because I was like, ugh, boring.
Oh, gosh. I did not pick up on that. No?
I don't know what. I just said she never says I do.
There is no again.
I don't know what that word means. Again, I watched this movie 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
true.
let's see where these notes go. Like we've already talked about it, but I just wrote like why is he sticking around? And he does say it. He says it out after he's like I wrote that he starts having a real chat of like, hey, I love you, but I can't keep doing this. And I'm like, cool, we're having some real talk. I like this. I don't understand why we have a phobia of weddings.
She also says she's a reasonable person.
Yeah.
And then breaks out into hives.
Yeah. And I think because like Jen Lily as a person is like has these beautiful big eyes and she's very like porcelain doll like esque. So when she's like her wide eyes go even wider and she's scratching her neck, I'm like, this like feels like it's a lot. It's very intense.
Yeah.
They break up after she's like, I don't think I can walk down the aisle for
she
a third
says
time.
she says I need you to wait a bit longer.
And he's like, I've waited 3 years.
I've gone to 2 weddings and waited. But also, do we acknowledge, did she go to therapy at all? Great.
Therapy.
So she went to a doctor to check if she was allergic to weddings, but she didn't go to therapy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So then we get like the single life montage of like waiting for that message that never comes. And that's probably the realest moment in this whole movie.
Yeah, totally.
Because we've all been there.
Yeah, you just want to hear.
We're checking our phone the whole time and like we're going to bed and we're like double checking as we go to bed. We get out of the shower, we're checking. It's like that, while quite sad, is probably the most realistic thing I've ever seen in a Hallmark movie.
Totally.
You know?
I've done that before.
Oh, babe, all the time.
And like in this situation, because he's kind of said no, but I love you, but no.
Yeah.
She's hoping that he, messages and be like, I've changed my mind. Oh.
Yeah, you just want to hear. I get it, and my heart, like a little heart broke in that moment.
And I would want Marcus to say, I've changed my mind too.
Marcus, my own phone number is. But then she stopped turning up to work. She doesn't turn up for this interview with the magazine. And it's like, why are we avoiding our life? It's not our life that's the problem.
No.
I just don't. I don't get it. It's like, I get that you've just broken up with potentially the love of your life because you tried to get married 3 times and you couldn't.
That's your own
but you did
fault. That's on you.
Yeah.
That is no one else's fault.
I just wrote, it's a mind over matter thing. It's like, you have an irrational fear of weddings. Please see a professional. Is the note that I wrote.
But also, wouldn't a solution be like, hey, let's just go elope privately?
Yeah.
If it's like the big wedding thing, maybe that's the issue. And then just have a party after and be like,
hey, can we just be a de facto couple and not have a wedding? Is that okay with you? Can we just commit our lives to each other?
No, because he has wanted a wedding his entire life with light pink peonies, okay?
He does say that. Which is very sweet, and maybe also why he's the perfect person in this movie.
Yeah, he's like, he's the one who's like, I've been dreaming about like my wedding since I was younger. This is like what I want. Yeah. Like in this location, blah, blah, light pink peonies, blah, blah, blah.
It's very sweet.
Yeah.
So next episode we'll just be talking about Marcus. This is like, we get to she goes to his work, and this is the point where I'm like, we have watched this movie before. Up until this point I was like, I think this seems familiar, but I'm not sure. But then we walk into this fancy as helicopter mechanic warehouse.
It's like, what do they call it? Like a hangover? Hangover?
Not a hangover. Is that hangover? Google.
What plain place?
It is a hangover. No flying with a hangover.
Well, plain place storage. Okay.
Maybe take out hangover.
Okay, this is really sad. No.
Boneyard, not it.
I thought it was called a hangover. Oh, well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Don't look up. I look up, and you're not going to find what you want when you type in plain place storage.
Desperately concerned that there are so many articles on how to fly with a hangover.
Yeah.
But it is the fanciest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's like glass roller doors. It looks like a display, like where you would display helicopters for purchase, but like if they were built by Aston Martin. Like,
yeah, he's clearly done well for himself.
I was like, what the heck? And it was at that moment that I was like, I've had this thought before. We've watched this movie. He says there's a reason you haven't gone through with it to her when she comes to visit, because she's like, please take me back. I'm going to be there on the day. And he's like, babe, I've cancelled everything. You can be there, but nobody else will. I've told the guests they're not coming. Everything's been cancelled.
Yeah.
So, like, whatever. This whole movie has a big old don't know what you got till it's gone energy.
Totally. Absolutely.
You know?
She's completely taken... I don't want to say... Yeah, okay, I'll say it. She's taken this relationship for granted and just is freaking out about nothing, really. I don't understand... I don't understand, because you want to marry him, you just can't go through with the wedding. I understand more if you got engaged, went through it all, and got up to the altar and went, actually, no, I don't want to be with you. Yeah. Sure, but this is not that. This is like, I want to be with you.
Yeah, but I just don't want to walk down the aisle and say I do.
Yeah, it's just really weird.
Yeah.
And it's 100% what you're saying. You don't know what you've got till it's gone, because she just can't help but like wanting to talk to him, wanting to see him. And
she becomes kind of obsessive. Obsessive with it.
Yeah.
There are moments where it feels like we're playing for laughs. And I don't know whether it's in the like hives. I don't know. There were just some moments that I'm like, is this supposed to be funny? Because I just don't find it funny.
I wasn't laughing.
It really annoying.
Yeah, I was not laughing.
I just wrote allergic to chocolate. I can't.
Yeah, that was silly.
Enter Nicole.
Oh.
Now, Nicole, for some reason, runs a chocolate magazine.
Yeah, she's the CEO.
She's the CEO.
Chief, what is it? Editor-in-chief.
Yeah, and like, of the biggest chocolate magazine, so big that it has its own award. Competition-y style across the country deal.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing. I just said James has a thing for women in the chocolate biz.
Yes, and he doesn't like chocolate.
He doesn't like
chocolate. And he's ended up with 2 women in the chocolate industry.
Yeah.
The odds are not there.
So Charlotte's thing is that she wants to expand the store. She wants to have a couple more stores, and then eventually she wants a store in New York.
In Times Square?
In Times Square.
Yeah.
That is the goal. And so when Nicole comes in, apparently they become besties, and Nicole no longer needs to go visit any other chocolatiers in any other city because she spends a lot of time here.
Yeah, it's like a week or 2 there.
And a lot of time with Charlotte before she knew that James and Charlotte were a thing.
Yeah.
But it... what is it? So... Nicole at first tells her to keep her new flavor a secret until the competition, and like wait until she opens the store in New York to launch the new flavor. But then in like another scene, she's like, once people try your new chocolate, that store in New York is going to be easy. Like, you're going to get this try. So I'm like, which one
is it?
Is she opening the store and then releasing the flavor, or is she releasing the flavor and then open? I just like...
Yeah.
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want from her? James doesn't really tell Charlotte what's going on, and he doesn't really tell Nicole what's going on. He just kind of lets it happen.
But he has a reason. It's not a very good one.
Yeah.
But like, okay. So when they all bump into each other, Charlotte finds out that Nicole and James had dated, but there is no confirmation that Charlotte and James are the ones together. But Nicole has heard about this fiance that's run away multiple times. And the reason why James doesn't tell Nicole about that it's Charlotte is because apparently Nicole is such a bitch that she'll ruin Charlotte's
Yes.
She'll be petty and ruin Charlotte's chances, which is what she does.
What she does.
She does it anyway when she does find out.
But
yeah, so like, sure.
Nicole runs into James and is like, I think I love him still and I want to be with him again and we're in the right place.
Yeah.
She says to Charlotte, can I be 100% honest with you? And I'm like, you're interviewing her. You're not friends.
Yeah.
Like, why? Where is this come? Anyway.
Yeah. It's all very weird.
Charlotte and the best friend, whose name I cannot remember. Bestie, come up with a list of all the things they need to do for this wedding because Charlotte's still like, I'm going to be there on the day and so will you and we will be getting married.
Yes.
And they write a list on butcher's paper.
Because that's what we do.
That's what we do. And it's like, invite the guests to the wedding. And Bestie's like, have you done that? She's like, yes, James will have all the email addresses for all the people that we invited. And then they tick it off the list. I was like, no, you haven't
done
completed that task yet.
Yeah, like, you should change the task to know who you're going to invite. Yes, Jane. And then the next one is actually invite them.
Ask Jane for email.
Like, yeah, like, step it out. Come on. Because you've got to tick it and then you're going to be like, oh, yeah, they're coming.
Oh, yeah, we're done. I've literally... And then you've got to get there on the day and be like, oh, I didn't actually organise anything. I just ticked things off lists. Nicole turns up to Charlotte's house.
With food.
I'm like, get some friends. This is inappropriate.
Yeah, like, she's like, oh, I think we could be friends. Let's hang out. It's like...
And then she gets kind of weird about the fact that her friend is over. And then she gets weird about the fact that they want to go out because they are acting weird.
They are.
Because they're not telling... Nicole has no idea that Charlotte is the person that James is in love with and that they're going to get married. So they're trying to hide it from her. Nicole out loud, I'm pretty sure it's Nicole, says, #cute.
I wrote that.
I knew it!
Ugh, there's so much cringe in this movie. This is why it gets a terrible rating.
Much cringe.
Jessica Lowndes is also not good in this.
No.
She's been better. She's not good in general. She's been better. This character was just not it. I didn't really know what she was. She just didn't play it well.
I also, like, in her defense, it's...
Sorry.
It's a really weird character.
Well, yes, that's very true.
Like, even just, like, she goes back and forth on so many things. Is she nice? Is she a bitch? Does she want to be friends? Does she not want to be... Like, she's very plithy.
I think when we first meet her, sorry to backtrack a bit, but we're talking about a character. When we first meet her, when she's waiting in the cafe and Bestie's like calling Charlotte, being like, where are you? She was very standoffish and weird. It's like, I'm wondering if the note was, be Miranda Priestley.
Oh, yeah, true.
And then...
She definitely had a Miranda Priestley vibe.
Yeah, but it was like weird because like she was wanting to be friend. It was just, it didn't really make sense.
Ooh.
Also... You run a chocolate magazine, not Vogue. Yeah. Calm down. No one cares that much.
Yeah. That's the thing is that I'm like, I don't know if her character was as established as maybe it would have, like, for her, assuming that they're in, like, an 8-9 day filming schedule.
Yeah.
It was a little bit wishy-washy.
Yeah.
James is really flip-flopping at this point about whether he's going to be with Charlotte or not. But he also has Nicole in the picture, so I'm like... What do you want?
But I don't think he ever gave off a vibe that he was considering Nicole.
No, but he does, like, catch up with her.
Yes, he does engage in conversations and dinners and stuff.
And Charlotte's just taking all of that as, like, he's in love with her.
Yeah, and she's very jealous and, like, spies on him and stuff.
They do have a fight in the car park. She thinks that he's going to go see Nicole, and so she locks his keys in his car and she locks her keys in her car.
Of course, that's what normal people do.
And he's like, I'm not going to see Nicole, you crazy person.
Yeah.
I'm going to an auction to get back the car that I've been looking for years because it belonged to my grandfather.
Yeah.
And it got sold, and now it's up for auction, and now I'm never going to get it. And I'm like, why don't you just take a taxi?
Yeah. Have you got your phone on you?
You've got your phone.
Surely Uber exists at this point.
It's 2018.
Sure.
So, like,
Uber exists.
Uber exists.
Yep.
Absolutely.
In America, for sure.
Absolutely. We've taken Ubers in 2018.
Yeah.
Or walk.
Yeah.
He
taxi.
I think there was like an hour or something between that and the auction, and then because it took 45 minutes for the the mechanic to come.
But also so they obviously had the ability to call a mechanic.
Yeah.
But also in this situation and in another situation later in the movie, there are houses all around. Knock on a door and say, "Excuse me, can you help, please? Or can I borrow a phone or anything?"
Yeah. No.
They're there.
We're asking too much.
Absolutely.
Nicole, while this is all happening, is at the chocolate factory.
Yes.
And she's talking to I'd say 2IC at this point, and he's like, I think we've locked it in. I think we've locked in the new recipe.
Yeah.
We've even tried some concept wrapping, which is just gold foil around Love Heart chocolates. And he's like, but those are they're not the recipe. That we put strawberry in those. We realize now that you're allergic to strawberry. We don't want you to eat those.
Yeah.
To Nicole, because everyone's allergic to something in this movie.
Yes.
So that is what it's going to look like, but that's not the chocolate it's going to be.
Yes.
So Nicole takes one.
Cheeky.
Because sabotage.
Yeah.
But I'm like, concept wrapping for just plain gold foil.
Also she was doing like Willy Wonka shit at the start of this movie.
Yes.
Like hand brushing stuff onto things, and then for a competition you give the most basic Love Heart gold foil chocolate that's going to apparently allow you to open a shop in Times Square.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Wild. I just wrote the story behind the chocolate. Why did I write that?
The story behind the chocolate. Oh, I know why. The name. Is it the name of it?
I think it's before that.
The story behind the
story behind the chocolate.
Is it how she got the business?
Maybe old mate's telling Nicole the story, and I'm like, again, I watched this movie like 2 weeks ago.
I don't know why you wrote that.
Nicole's spending a lot of time in one chocolate shop for a competition.
Yeah.
Here we go. Yes, the defining of words that we haven't done since the beginning of the movie. I think it happens when we're filming the chocolate tasting.
Oh, okay.
And maybe it is, the story behind the chocolate is she says, like, I've made this for one person, and it's like all encompassing.
Oh, but she doesn't actually reveal what it's for.
She doesn't say who it's for.
Because what does it say on it?
SJ.
SJ, yeah.
The ADR in this movie is not great. ADR, I googled it because I'm like, what does ADR actually stand for? It's automatic dialogue replacement, and it's when dialogue isn't either picked up while you're filming, or if sometimes Aya and I talk over the top of each other, it's not always helpful in a film. So you come back and you record your lines separately, you watch yourself on screen, and then you try and get the timing of your dialogue
it's like dubbing.
Exactly the same. It's kind of like dubbing. Sometimes you get movies where the ADR is it's the line, the dialogue is playing, but the actors are moving their mouths at different times, or they're not moving their mouths at all.
Yeah.
And towards the end of this movie, it's not great. And it's not just Hallmark. I saw challenges yesterday, and there's like 2 lines of dialogue in there where the mum is talking, but as she's turning to look at the door, and you can tell that she's not her mouth is not moving.
Oh no!
But I'm like, okay,
sure.
We didn't need it anyway. Like, just.
Yeah, I wonder why they do that. Is it like they go, oh, actually, we probably needed an extra line at this point, and they didn't have it.
The only ones I've ever done is because there was too much like sound over the top of, like, you couldn't actually hear the dialogue. So I'm not sure, but I mean, there are a lot of unnecessary scenes and challenges, but we're not reviewing challenges. We're reviewing, yes, I do. Is this?
Well, yeah.
So Nicole switches the chocolate in the competition because she has the chocolate in her bag still. She drops the chocolate that's on camera for this tasting, and so then she like picks it up and swaps it over. And I'm like, this is a dark thought, but I'm like, is this guy really
worth
this
it?
great that you are willing to potentially kill yourself. She has a severe allergic reaction.
Yeah.
For him. And you also haven't talked for a number of years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, he's pretty great, but is he that great?
Yeah. It's hard to believe any of this would happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I agreed. Like, I thought that too. I was like, but what if she dies?
Yeah.
It's not.
There's no EpiPen.
No, but she's fine to go to dinner later on. So obviously wasn't that bad.
She's fine to go to dinner later on. And that's the other thing that I'm like, I think the restaurant we're in is the hangar. It's not a hangover, it's a hangar.
I knew it was something to do with hanging.
It looks like the hangar from a different angle set up as a restaurant because the staircase is the same, the walls are all the same. Like
probably.
There's one wall that's quite, because it's honestly huge. Like, anyway. Charlotte comes in as like, you switch the chocolates. I know I didn't put strawberry in these chocolates.
Yes.
You switch the chocolate. She dumps the handbag out. The chocolate's not there. James is like, you're making a fool of yourself.
Yes.
It's probably good to go. Nicole's like, hey, gotcha.
So annoying.
And then Charlotte leaves and the waiter comes over and is like, you left this behind, and has found the chocolate that fell out of the bag. And so it's all over Rover for Nicole. And then we get a scene where Charlotte is sitting on the park bench all by herself looking sad, and I'm like, I've never sat in a park sad before.
I would
It's the
never do
last
that.
place I want to be.
But also, like, this is not a major, I don't know how big this town or city is that they live in, but yeah, I've never gone, this is my park bench, and
it's
you
not
can
directly
find me here if I'm
after.
upset.
Yeah.
It's like the next day.
It's the next day. And he's like, I knew I would find you here.
But after I went and checked your home first, because that would make more sense. And then I realised, oh no, you would be at your favourite park bench.
It happens a lot in movies.
It does.
Not just these movies.
I
Movies.
want to do a poll. How many people have a favourite park bench, and can anyone often find you there when you're upset? I'm going to tell you, like, no one's going to say yes. No one.
We'll put it on Instagram, see what happens.
Yeah.
He then has this spiel, which is very sweet, about like all the things he loves about her. But he's like, I know that you love it when I brush the hair out of your eyes. Not once in this movie has he brushed hair out of her eyes.
He has tucked it behind.
He has tucked it. It's sitting much, if you're watching, much like Aya's, and he just tucks it behind the ear, and that is literally it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking like as if like it's like in front of her. Like, no.
I know it's nitpicky, but I'm like,
it doesn't matter. But they make such a big deal out of it as this one thing that apparently he does that no one else has ever done in the entire world.
And he also does it at so many strange moments. Like, it's not natural at any moment, because it is just, her hair is just sitting the way that it can sit.
Her hair's pretty normal.
He pulls out the chocolate and is like, this is why this was in the bag. I know that you weren't lying.
Yeah.
I know that it was Nicole. And she's like, I made the chocolate for you. The SJ stands for Sweet James, which made me vomit in my mouth a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, terrible.
Yeah.
Call it like berry surprise or something. I don't know.
Say for James. Like,
yeah.
But he doesn't like chocolate. And she's like, but I've created a chocolate flavor that you, like, it's our relationship in a chocolate. And I'm like, I don't know if you can put hives in a chocolate flavor. What would that taste like? And he eats it and he loves it, obviously. So her chocolate
he could be
is
lying.
So good. It could be.
He could be lying. He doesn't like chocolate. But
she is Willy Wonka and can win the hearts of even the chocolate haters.
Yeah.
She then eats the chocolate and she's fine.
Oh!
She no longer has a chocolate allergy. She no longer has an allergy to weddings. And we don't know why.
So she's cured.
She's cured.
She's cured all around, both from a medical standpoint with the chocolate and also a weird other thing.
Yeah.
Being allergic to weddings.
Yep.
Cool.
And they get married, they live happily ever after.
The wedding day, though.
Yeah.
There's a bit of dramas because she's like, where are the rings? And the bestie's like, I think they're at the cafe because
Why not?
Why not? So then she drives herself
Yes.
to the wedding.
Yes.
Which is weird because her 2IC is meant to be the one who walks her down the aisle.
Yes.
Because her father passed away. Wouldn't he be with... Okay, it's fine.
It's fine.
She drives herself to the wedding. The car breaks down. She doesn't have a phone because she left everything.
She has nothing. She took nothing with her.
Jessica Lowndes, or Nicole, is still in town.
She's leaving town.
She's leaving town. But, I mean, the question is, how much time has passed between them getting back together and saying, yes, we're going to have our wedding, to the wedding day? Because Nicole is still in town. And she, like, drives past, and it looks like she's going to keep driving. And then she turns around, picks up Charlotte. Then she rocks up at the wedding. Nicole watches the wedding.
Falls in love with whoever, apparently. Well, it's implied that she's like, oh, you're cute, to the guy sitting next to her at the wedding.
And another thing, like, just with her being stranded and no phone, she was literally on a residential street, knock on a door and ask for a phone. Anyway, she gets to the church, says I do, blah, blah, blah.
Movie ends.
The end. And they finally get married.
Finally. Look, there are still three things that I liked about this film.
I found 3 things.
You're doing very well.
I know, I haven't done like a 2-thing thing in a while.
I love chocolate. I would love to work in a chocolate shop. I think that would be the best time ever. And like grandpa character is just sitting there like painting chocolate butterflies. I'm like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, totally. Someone else make the chocolate and you'd be like, I got this.
Yeah,
I'll decorate.
I'll do the decorations. You guys make the chocolate.
Yeah.
Marcus Rosner.
Yeah.
He's just one reason.
Yeah.
And I really did I call him the grandfather character because I'm not really sure what the relationship was. I think he just was like a mentor. But he was so sweet. And it was just, I just wanted to hug him all the time. He was really lovely.
So my 3 things, now that I'm reading them, they're pretty generic for me. Like, it's pretty whatever. Obviously, Marcus was the best part of this movie, without a doubt. Yeah. I was just like, yeah, love you.
Yeah.
And honestly, the chemistry between James and Charlotte, like their relationship,
it made sense.
It made sense. And like just even like there were moments where he was like, I hate saying this. It's gonna sound, it was almost like some kind of like sexual chemistry between them. There were parts where he's like, you can't have me. And she's like, oh no. Like I was like, oh geez, we've not seen this before in a movie. I was like, this is a bit almost spicy, but not really, very mild.
Yeah.
So that kind of caught me off guard. I was like, oh, this is great. This is like Bridgerton level flirting. And then I did think that the acting in general, for everyone, was good. Yeah. I feel like Jessica Lowndes was a bit of a letdown, but to what you were saying before, maybe it was just her character was just really weird. Maybe she just didn't really know how to play it, but she was like the dead weight in this, I think. But everyone else, like side characters, like the friend, like the grandfather figure, like everyone was really good.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, they're kind of generic, but like at least I found 3.
You found 3. And they weren't wrong.
No.
I did rate this slightly higher than you did.
Yes.
Which we knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
The script I don't love, but I again agree that the acting was quite good and it's watchable. Like, yes, I didn't zone out as much as I normally would. That kind of stuff. I've watched it before. Yeah. So I don't think it was as good as Love Blossoms. So I rated it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
I would probably watch Love Blossoms over this. I think I just felt quite frustrated watching this. Just like I said earlier, the best part was Marcus. That's the only kind of like one of the biggest, like, yeah, the acting was good, chemistry, blah, blah, blah. But like the biggest, like, kind of like draw card for this was Marcus. So if I was to watch it, it'd be because I'm doing like a Marcus, what's it called? When you watch lots of movies. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Marathon. If I was doing a Marcus-thon, I would watch it. But I don't actually want to watch this again. No. I gave it a 5 out of 10. That's okay. I gave it 5 out of 10. I still think that's generous. I think I was also, because my mother had such like a strong reaction to it, I went, oh, maybe this really, like, I find sometimes I'm probably a bit too generous with my ratings. So, because, like, she kind of had such a strong reaction, I was like, oh, no, this really isn't good. And I think, I just didn't like the running away. He just kept going back to her. Like, I personally would not put up with that. I don't care how in love you are. Like, it's just, there's something that's so off-putting about it.
Yeah. And if you're not going to have a proper conversation about it. But I also think that, like, in real life, we'd be like, please see a professional.
Yeah, that's also a movie. But, yeah.
You know? Yeah.
So it's a 5.5.
A 5.5, which isn't bad. It sits with, like, Christmas Prince and, like, better than, like, Angel Falls Christmas, which I think is where it does.
Is it better than? Oh, it's definitely better than Love Strikes Twice, because that's still. Is that a 2?
I'm pretty sure that was a 2. Let's go back. Yeah, 2 out of 10.
Oh, wow,
That was a bad, but it was bad.
It was the worst one. So this is not the worst.
This is not the worst.
But
Love Strikes Twice is
Love Strikes Twice is still the worst.
But it's not the best.
Absolutely not.
It's average.
Yeah.
And I think it sits well in the average sphere.
Yep.
But if you don't agree with us, or you do agree with us, let us know on Instagram or TikTok at hallmarkedpod, or you can email us at hallmarkedpod@gmail.com. I don't know what we're watching next.
No idea. We've got a list.
What's on the list? Sister of the Bride on Prime.
Okay.
So if you want to watch that before we have a chat about it, you're more than welcome.
Yep, have a Prime Day.
Have a Prime Day! Because Bezos needs more money, apparently.
Yeah.
It does. Anyway, well, that's a whole different episode.
Well, he gave a lot of money to his ex-wife, so that's nice.
Yeah, if only he could do more things with it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll have this argument off air. And we will see you guys in a couple of weeks.
Bye.
Bye.